Hello my friends.
Welcome to the Trade District of Stormwind.
Today we will bring you the state of affairs in Stormwind.
In the next 10 minutes, we'll tell you about the impact of the new Hearthstone expansion on Standard and Wild, determine the best decks in the metagame, and decide which packs are the best to buy.
Let's start with a quick overview of the metagame. After spending only 2 weeks in Stormwind, people's favorite meta decks have already been decided. Mage is once again out of control. The class is totally dominating standard format. The new Questline Mage terrorizes players with almost the same intensity as the no-minion archetype in the early days of the Baron's meta.
As a reward for completing Questline, you receive a permanent spell damage boost. To get this boost, you only need to play a certain number of spells from 3 schools: Arcane, Fire and Frost.
The big advantage of this deck is its low cost. You only need 1 legendary and 4 epic cards. Another advantage is its efficiency. This version of the deck has a nearly 62% win rate. Your main opponents will be Face Hunter, Aggro Elemental Shaman and Questline Druid. However, there is one huge drawback: you will face a lot of mirror matches, as almost every 5th player uses this strategy.
Priest was a complete failure in the early days of the expansion. It had the least effective and least popular archetypes in Standard. Luckily for Priest players, a new Aggro Shadow archetype has formed. This version of the deck is capable of achieving up to a 57% win rate at low ranks. The main advantage of the deck is the cost. You only need 3 valuable cards: Dark Bishop Benedictus and 2 copies of Void Touched Attendant. If these cards are in your collection, we advise you to try this deck out.
Despite its moderate popularity, the most effective class during the first 2 weeks in Stormwind was Paladin. All his archetypes work well enough, but Handbuff Paladin is especially good. The Conviction and Battleground Battlemaster combo can transform even harmless minions into merciless assassins. The deck has almost no bad matchups. The only serious opponent of the archetype is Quest Rogue. The only drawback of this deck is the high cost. You need 6 legendary cards to use the best standard deck.
When it comes to the best decks, Hunter cannot be ignored. The new expansion tried to diversify the meager set of Hunter strategies. Unfortunately, new ideas turned out to be too weak. Boar Hunter is just a meme, while Quest Hunter is a worse version of Face Hunter. For this reason, Face Hunter continues to dominate the metagame. The deck has hardly changed, and still demonstrates extremely high efficiency.
A few words about Shaman. The new expansion gave a lot of interesting things to Thrall. The developers brought the Evolve archetype back to life, allowed OTK combinations using Balner Hammerbeak, and most importantly, resurrected the Overload archetype through the new questline. But it seems that all these things didn't really impress Shaman players, as they still prefer to use elemental synergies. The new version of Aggro Elemental Shaman is not much different from the old one. To upgrade, you only need 2 new cards, which makes this strategy even more effective.
Guys, has the release of the new expansion had enough impact on the standard metagame?
This is a very interesting question, Dora. First, let's determine the popularity of cards from each expansion. The worst set is Dark Moon Races. On average, a 30-card deck is only 3% composed of cards from the mini-set.
The popularity of cards from the new expansion is 24%. This means that almost every 4th card in the meta decks is from the United in Stormwind set. This is the most influential set in the current metagame and the best set to buy. New strategies have supplanted most of the old ones.
Over the past 2 expansions, new sets haven't been able to fully take over the game. From this point of view, United in Stormwind is more influential than Dark Moon Fair, and Forged in the Barrens.
But the new set has several important drawbacks. First, out of 135 cards, only 90 cards found a place in the decks. In other words, a third of the cards in the set are completely useless. This is one of the worst results we have ever recorded. Among the 25 epic cards, only 4 have a popularity above 1%. Among the 25 legendary cards, 14 have a popularity above 1%, 5 legendary cards are useless.
Let's talk about them in a little more detail.
Flightmaster Dunger has almost completely abandoned all popular versions of meta decks. The only place you can still find him is Big Demon Hunter. The uselessness of Auctioneer Jackson and the Rat King did not come as a surprise to us. Our algorithm gave these 2 cards a very low rating. We were also unable to find Maestra of the Masquerade in popular versions of archetypes, although 0.5% of rogues use this card in fan builds. A complete surprise for us was the complete uselessness of Sheldra's Moontree. Our algorithm compared this card to Caligo's and gave it a fairly high rating of potential usefulness. We want to believe that this card will reveal its potential in the future.
What about the best legendary cards for safe crafting?
Currently Cornelius Rome is the best card for crafting. This card can be found in popular builds of Handbuff Paladin, Quest Hunter, Quest Warlock, Quest Druid, Quest Shaman, and even Elemental Shaman. But despite this, we advise you to postpone crafting. New strategies must survive the first wave of nerfs, after which the matter will take its final form. Focus on reaching level 20 and 50 to get the free legendary cards from the rewards track.
United in Stormwind has completely redesigned standard mode and added variety to duels, but in my opinion the main achievement of the new expansion is the complete shake-up of the wild format. The wild format is a highly isolated place that is timeless. Regardless of new strategies, there is almost no change in the format. As a rule, new cards will update very old decks a little. If at least one new archetype appears in the metagame, it becomes a significant development. Quest Mage has remained the best wild deck for the past few years, but United in Stormwind has finally changed that.
The new Questline Warlock has completely broken wild. This is the most effective and popular archetype in the format. The deck allows you to complete the quest, and activate the effect around the 5th turn. After that, all the damage you inflict on yourself during your turn, is redirected at your opponent.
This allows you to destroy the opponent on turn 6 or 7. This deck destroys all control decks and most mid-range archetypes. Your only serious opponents are very aggressive archetypes that can quickly fill the board, or perhaps Questline Hunter. But the worst thing isn't even the high efficiency of the archetype, but the fact that the advent of Questline Warlock has led to the formation of an extremely aggressive meta and the complete disappearance of all combo and control decks. Questline Warlock creates too many problems in the format. The deck definitely deserves an immediate nerf. If you encounter Warlocks and Questline Hunters on the latter too often, we advise you try out Rally Paladin. This build is specifically designed to counter the most popular wild archetypes.
The aggressive environment has proven to be very rewarding for the new Pirate Warrior, which has become even more aggressive and sticky thanks to the quest line. After activating the main effect, you get permanent resource generation until the end of the match, which will allow you to more effectively resist slower decks.
Fire Mage deserves special attention. This is an improved version of the Exodia archetype that works much better without Intonitus. The combination of Sorcerer's Apprentice, Sanctum Chandler and Ignite spell guarantees victory if achieved. The deck has a high win rate and is a great alternative to Secret Mage. Another advantage is its cost. You only need 4 epic cards. If you love wild mode, be sure to try this deck.
Finally, I want to tell you about one more deck. If you still dream of getting the Sword of 1,000 Truths, we recommend that you give Boar Priest a try. It is currently the most effective Boar archetype in both formats. This deck won't give you a lot of victories, but a ton of fun is guaranteed.
We've only discussed a few new decks, although there are many more. Players keep experimenting and looking for new combinations and synergies.
Guys, what conclusions have you come to? Did the new set live up to your expectations?
Definitely yes, Dora. Of course, the release had many problems. The meta of both formats is completely unbalanced, but it also feels fresh.
For 8 months I have been waiting for a set that brings a large number of new strategies to standard mode, but I did not expect that United in Stormwind, in addition to changing the standard format, would also completely change wild.
Despite some negative consequences, I am very glad that these changes have taken place. We hope that the developers will be able to restore balance and make the game even more diverse.
What do you think about the release of the new expansion? How would you rate the current meta game in both formats?
Please take part in the survey on our community tab and share your opinion in the comments.
We will be extremely grateful to you for liking and subscribing to the channel as well as for turning on all notifications using the bell icon. You can also join our squad of loyal patrons and help us create new videos.
Dear friends, from all of my robotic heart, thank you so much for any kind of support.
Alright, that's all for today. Thank you for being with us.
And special thanks to Chris for his invaluable help.
We will definitely meet in a new video. Good luck.